September 27th, 2022. I think maybe a Friday. I can't remember. I don't know. um, so, yeah, I think I took 2 days off from smoking. I mean, from doing the video because I was just too busy working, and I did feel like I didn't have the time. I was working on Switzerland, which is like crazy time consuming because there was like 10 cities, 400 villages, and I had to go and trace all those and do the screen capture and everything. And then I got going on Italy again, which is really big. Like I just now finished tracing 265 of the village towns, but now I have to go back and do the screen capture of the wall, but then directly above it of the shape of the city for the icon. But I also have to build the other walls. I remember I built all these walls and then I went over it again and I built more, but I think that was, so I don't think I lost anything. So then I'm going over and looking at it again. I'm hoping that it's not in the Italy folder, which I can't open because it's too big. I don't think so though. I think when I saved it, I hope that the roads are in there because the roads got somehow replaced, but that was 9 days of work that I did in April. Go back and look. But I never, I guess, because I was looking at this, I was tracing them. I never did all of the walls. So now I'm gonna have to go in and for 265 of them, sweep through and make sure that all of the different walls, like castle wall and walls, are done. And then I have to put it into the name and then do the screen captures. But that's what I was doing with the other countries, having to finish building all the different walls. When you look at, because I'm doing all of the ancient cities of Europe that have Wikipedia pages, whether there's writing in there or if it's just a link to an empty page, just anything that showed up. And I made this list not that long ago, so I think it was after pretty much Wikipedia got everything in there that was gonna go in there. There was a big leap in Wikipedia between 2010 and 2015. A lot of new articles got bigger. But I think I have everything. But so these are big cities, and the biggest cities from the day. So with really long histories, so you can see most cities in the time of prehistory, like when they first got started, BC, Celtic times. They're usually they're usually oval shaped. I don't know how big the ones in, I can't remember off the top of my head how big the ones in South America are, because the closest thing to Stone Age people are the Amazonian tribes. And they have their little huts, their little hut villages that go around. And they're like oval color and round, but you can clearly see on all of these European villages like an oval, you know? So that way, the original town, it's usually about a kilometer. And then, you know, a kilometer to 2 kilometers. But then once it becomes a city, it's like 4. And I think these cities were pretty much, you know, at their biggest were like a city. So I'd have like a wall that goes around that's like 4 kilometers. That'll show its shape, but oh, and then there's also the castle. But it's really cool how usually you get this little oval around 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers. So and somehow I didn't like build all those in Italy, so that's what I get to do now. My birds are going nuts. But yeah, I'm glad I powered through Switzerland and Italy. Once I'm done with Italy, I'm done. It's like an electric car. That sounded trippy. What was that? Anyway, what was I talking about? Yeah, once I'm done with Italy, I'm done with Europe. Which wasn't too much time, you know. I have to get done with this before I lose interest. And this is a particularly time-consuming page, so it was good that I got started on it like while I was fresh, after it had been months since I'd worked on my website. So I could power through and do more stuff that I would have done before, you know, without it driving me crazy. Then I think I'm going to do the next one, which is like the Americans, which isn't really that big compared, except for America, and that's a little bit different, so I don't know how many tribes there are in America, because I never numbered it. I just didn't get that far on the webpage, so when I get to Americas, I guess I'll number them on Google Earth first. Yeah, and then put it in. So I think there's a lot of tribes, dude. Like, America will be the biggest country, I think, out of all of them in terms of tribes. Luckily, there's not a whole lot of like cities that I have to trace, but it'll be the tribes. Maybe like, I don't know, man. If I had to guess, like 300 or something. But yeah, I would. Anyway, I would trace those, you know, and then power through, yeah, the rest. So maybe I could get done. Maybe I could get done with doing the screen captures for the whole page by halfway through October, and then that's when I would go and insert the icons and fix the links on those, and that's going to be really cool because you'll actually see it happening, and or I'll actually see it happening, and then I guess put the other links on there too, and that's going to take like, I don't know, maybe I could do that whole thing in a couple of weeks, who knows. So maybe I could be done at the absolute fastest. I could be done with Google Earth tribes, and I call it Google Earth history. I need to change that. Google Earth tribes and cities page by the end of October. And wow, dude. To see that functioning, because I also have to build, oh man, or maybe it'll probably be halfway through October or halfway through November, because I also have to do the videos I'm gonna do the videos for them all too. They'll take up a lot of gigs, but they gave me gigs, so let's fucking go for it. And it'll look really cool to see that working. Oh, and then I want to see how it works on the cell phone. That's when I'll actually get to see how this whole system works on the cell phone. Because when it all works together, Google Earth and everything, I think it might work really well. Anyway, hopefully I can, finish Italy with all the tracing and the new walls, because, you know, you have to look, but I'm good at that now, you know. But I hope I don't get too carried away and do too many walls. Anyway, I think my ferrets may have eaten my hamsters. Like, I haven't seen them for the last few days, my hamsters. A few days ago, like, the tube, and I let my ferrets run wild in the house when I'm not here, so it's like, who knows what the hell they do. But the tube, maybe I could show it. No, just describe it. The hamster tube that goes across the ceiling, it like broke on two ends, broke down, so the hamsters actually could escape. I don't think they would want to, though. They would fall down like 2 feet on top of a aquarium, and then they could like fall down they have to fall off the top of the aquarium to the counter, and then the counter to the table, and the table to the chair, and the chair to the floor. Hamsters will surprise the shit out of you. They could, like, they're escape artists. So maybe they got away, and if that happens, they're dead. And so, I don't know, maybe the ferrets ate them and took their bodies up to their cages, and, like, I wouldn't know. I'd never know. They just die. They disappear completely. So if that's it, what happens, I guess that's what happened. But I don't know how that broke, because I super glued all of that. And I don't know, like, maybe I haven't seen it happen yet, but maybe the ferrets have figured out how to jump on top of a chair, because they're getting more athletic as they're getting older. And if it can get on the chair, maybe it can get from the chair to and then maybe it jumps from the aquarium, like, to the tube and pulled it off, but that's, like, too high. I don't think, no, there's no way. So I think it was just gravity. Like the birds must have landed on it and knocked it off. Yeah, that's what happened. I just figured it out now. It was the damn birds, because they've been knocking stuff off that isn't fixed right, and they, like, my Captain America shield, knocked off twice. But then the ferrets got into the hamster cage, the big hamster cage, twice. And I didn't know how. I thought it was from the side, but then I saw him trying to get in again. And there was like a little bit of a hole that I guess maybe I punched it in when I thought I was going to put it in from the top. But I plugged up the hole with the chicken wire. But then they tore. It's mesh, but it's metal mesh. So they tore somehow the metal mesh open and made a hole big enough to get in. So they also tore a hole in my screen here, but it's perfect to have a hole in the screen at the bottom. It's only like this big in the corner, so the ferrets can get in and out on their own to go drink water in the pool here. This pool. But if I forget to put this at the end of my chair, they can get up on here and wreak havoc on my plants, and also maybe fall off the side. So that's what really scares me. So I have to remember to put this in the front every time. And I still haven't swept my deck yet. There's dirt all over my deck from when the ferret did that, like last week or a couple weeks ago. They also jumped up on top of my the cages that are on top of my fireplace. They climbed up the chicken wire on the fireplace, and they like to dig in the sand. I have this much sand, this deep of sand. It's like at least 4 inches in a 10-gallon aquarium that I'm gonna put in my sandfish skink when I get it. But Yeah, it's just enough sand so that the ferrets can jump in there and dig like crazy, and they can't even dig to the bottom. And then they turn around and dig on the other side, and it's just as like far enough below the top where they can't really spill too much. They spilt a little bit in the one next to it, so it's like perfect. It's a freaking perfect playpen of sand for the ferrets. So that was cool. They can get in up and down from that and get there from both sides. And they drink the water from the bird. There's a hole, they open up the hole and they drink out of the bird's water bowl in the bird cage, the bottom water bowl. So the other day I went to change the food in my bird cage, and I like wasn't paying attention, and I was like to what was going on, and when I picked up the bird food, turned out the bird was actually sitting on top of it. I didn't realize. So the bird jumped up and flew out of the hole that the ferret likes to drink in the water, and went up to his perch. But he flew right through that hole, like without losing any speed at all. Just went right out of it. And the hole is only like this big. It's on the bottom of the cage, like where you put the water. On one side I have water, the other side food. And yeah, that's an athletic bird. They know how to fly now. It's cool. They definitely couldn't have done that before. I've been seeing my birds get more athletic too. In fact, yesterday I saw them. Actually, it was the birds who knocked that off. Because yesterday, for the first time, I saw them doing some pretty aggressive flying. Like, flew around the post in my kitchen, and then for the first time I saw the blue one perching in the kitchen. Because they can perch wherever they want in the house, because I have a causeway this wide that's 6 inches from the ceiling, goes around the entire periphery of the house, and then goes across the living room where the ferrets go across, and then across the kitchen also. So it goes across the apartment in two places, and then on top of going around the periphery, including the entranceway hallway. So, and then there's like shelves all over the place. So they can they can perch wherever they want. It's like they live in a tree. And then I have 5 bicycles too that they perch on top of. They're hanging from the ceiling and the wall, and that's the place they like to perch the most. But they were doing flybys where you can actually feel the wind on my head. And then for the first time I saw bird shit on my computer. So they do flybys above me and try to poop on me. But they don't just fly from the cage to their perch like they used to, which is on the other side of the TV, opposite ends of my 85-inch TV. But now they're like turning. They're flying and then turning around in midair, and then like getting really close to me, like within like 1.5 feet or 1 foot of my head. And yeah, so they probably just like maybe collided with it, you know. And if a parakeet, a little budgie, collides full force into one of those little hamster tubes, it's probably is enough to knock it off. So I saw them slam into my mirror twice when they were first learning how to fly. Like one of them, I think the blue one, went into the mirror and then backed up like 3 feet and then went into the mirror again, and then like fell on the floor and then got back up. I think I got him back up. And then they once I think I saw him, I think that was the time before he went into the mirror, he slammed into the TV and then slammed in the mirror twice. So, and I saw one of them slam into the screen like almost full speed. Like he thought he was flying outside. And luckily he didn't fly into the window, you know. The screen was enough not to hurt him. But that's a cool thing about having the ferret hole on the bottom of the screen, is because I think it's too low for the bugs. Usually the flies, and there's a lot of flies out here because my ferrets like to poop out here, and smite my plants and stuff. But yeah, I think flies don't fly that low usually to get into the house through the bottom or the big moss. I get these moss that have wingspans that are like this wide, like 3-inch wingspans. They look like birds almost. That get into my place, and they somehow get attracted to the light in my tegu cage in my fireplace. I don't even know how they get in there, and then they get stuck in there, and well, I saw like 2 in there at once. But I think maybe the tegu learned how to eat them. The tegu tried to eat one, but he couldn't get his mouth around it. So my foggers broke in my fireplace like last week, and like 4 days went by or something. It was a lot. It was like 4 or 5 days because I'm like not keeping in touch with I'm not keeping up with my life at all. That's why I wasn't doing these videos. I need to clean my room. I need to pick up my room. It's like all crazy. Like when I do my laundry, I just pour my laundry on the floor, and then I'd never have time to put the laundry up on the closet and the drawers. So then when I like use new clothing, I just pick clothing off. I see the clothing on the floor, and I just pick it off the floor and put it on, until it gets dirty, and then throw that into the hamper. So I'm like not using any drawers anymore. It's from the pressure, just trying to get through this page. But so anyway, yeah, I like locked my ferrets out. I felt kind of bad. Locked them in their cage today because I didn't want them. I wanted to fix the hamster cage first. I don't want them to get in the hamster because I saw them get in there twice, like while I'm there, and they're like running around all excited, like they're looking for something. So I don't know. Maybe they already ate 1 or 2 of my hamsters. They're these cute little Russian dwarf hamsters, but the reptile store where I bought my tegu, right next to Safeway, across the street, or 1 block away, they sell like mice. The last time I was in there a couple days ago, this dude was in there, and he bought a whole box full of mice, like 10, 20 mice. I looked in, and it was like, it was like 20 mice for his all of his snakes. And like, I guess if I wanted to, mice could run through here if I wanted to fill up my hamster cage with mice. Maybe I could do that because I was kind of bored. Like I saw my hamsters run around and live and stuff. I think I'll just get more hamsters because just the way the hamsters behave, like making their little beds and stuff and run around. But if I have mice, at least I'll see them, because I never saw my hamsters. So every once in a while, you see one run by. So, but you can hear them squeak to each other, which is cool, and then watch them run around on the wheel. But if I have a bunch of mice, I don't know, maybe I could use them as food for my tegu. I don't know. Buy a whole bunch of mice like a normal person who buys them over at the reptile. Maybe they're not that expensive, like live mice. And then so I can have mice as pets to entertain me and watch them run around in my tubes and live in my tanks and my different, because I have a 40-gallon tank for the hamsters that I totally decked out like a mansion and a house to live in. But then they'd poop all in there and I have to clean it. Well, that would be too much work, but then if I want to feed my tegu for whatever reason, I could throw a live mouse in there, but I don't like watching tegus eat mice. That's not why I bought my tegu. And in fact, I was even thinking to myself earlier, I don't even want my tegu to be that kind of a tegu, or my ferrets to be that kind of ferret. Like I want my ferret and tegu to be the kind of animals that if they saw a mouse or a hamster, they would just like sniff it instead of eat it, because they're used to eating the regular food, So I think a tegu can go live its whole life without having to eat anything that's live. So I'm gonna have a hippie vegetarian tegu. I think my tegu lives good enough of a life. Oh yeah, because that's what I was saying. My humidifiers, my smoke machines, because I have two of them that go with tubes into the corner. They both broke. Within like one broke, and then like a week later the other one broke, and so then I had none for like 4 days, and I was like, oh shit, my tegu is gonna. This because the sand was at a perfect consistency. Having two smoke machines going in my fireplace, which has about this much, like half sand, half dirt, um, for my tegu, and which is enough for him to get completely in. Under, if you have two smoke machines, it'll make that like the perfect consistency to build like a sandcastle. You know how you need that? You need it to be moist and dark moist to build a sandcastle. It's that consistency. And if I dig all the way to the bottom, there's no pool of water at the bottom, but it's the same consistency the entire depth. It took like 2 or 3 weeks to get like that, because I was looking at the color, and there was this aspen shavings on the top, which is totally different color from the dirt. And then the aspen shavings got dark and just melted in. And then the dirt, next thing I knew, the dirt wasn't like dark, light brown sandy color, but now it was like dark like earth. And because it was all wet, and I was worried that, because I have these 2 bottles like this big, quart or whatever, and I refill it. You know, it takes like a couple of hours to empty out, and so I refill that a couple times a day, like 3 times a day or whatever. So that's how much water I'm pouring in there. But it's not enough to make it drenched. It's just enough to create this blanket of smoke in there that then falls out of the edge of my the glass, which is this high, and gets into the house and then disperses. And I never smell it. Oh, and also I never do any maintenance to the tegu. I never take his poop out. His poop disappears. Like a couple weeks ago, I dug up like the entire section of dirt, like maybe a square foot worth, on the 2 corners of him where he poops. Like he sleeps on the northeast corner, and then he poops mostly on the southeast corner, but sometimes in the northwest corner, and then he hangs out on the south west corner. So I just took out all the dirt of where he poops. I was like, well, I don't see any poops, so I'll just take out the dirt. And when I took out the dirt, I didn't smell anything. It was like regular dirt and sand, and then I had to replenish it obviously again. And that was after like the whole time he's been there, like a couple months. So it's like, what happens to his poop? People are like, oh, tegus are so nasty, and they were when he was living in the little cage. Their poop is so nasty. Dude, their poop is like involved in some kind of an ecosystem, and it's getting recycled into his world, which has had a little bit of grass before and has some plants. Yeah, I don't know. He buries it, and yeah, so he just goes and hides and at night, and then comes out, and I see him every once in a while during the day. But he's got a nice life because he lives. Because in fact, I've never seen dead skin on. I haven't seen dead skin on him for like a month. Like not even a little bit of dead skin. Nothing. He's just. He does have a lot of like dirt that's caked on him, or maybe that's because lately it was been drying out, but he has no skin, so he sheds perfectly, and he lives in constant smoke. Even when he's basking, like I could show I'm looking at it right now, and it's just thick cloud of smoke right in his basking area, and then it's just totally thick smoke. I can't remember what the humidifier says in that part, but where he sleeps, and then I think the smoke would fall into where he sleeps. So I'm hoping that's not going to give him a breathing infection, but I mean, if it happens, then I'll know what happened. But and I dug him. I picked the water bowl, because he lives under the water bowl. He goes into his cave and then lives under the water bowl. And I picked a water bowl up once, like a couple weeks ago, and he jumped out, and it wasn't really that stinky in where he lives. So anyway, so my tegu doesn't take any time, any work. The only work my tegu takes is refilling the water. But that's kind of like a visual thing for me. I like having all that smoke in there anyway. I have little like lights that shine in and lighten it. But and I have plants in there too, and I'm gonna get more plants. I have some trellises, um, and the plants need all that smoke. Like I got 5 ferns in there. I have 4 ferns in there, and I just have these little grow lights in there all the time, and the ferns are doing great because they have the light, the grow lights, the LED grow lights, and they have constant smoke in there because I need the smoke in there for the plants, but also the tegu, mainly the tegu. So if I have to have it on there, then I might as well throw as much stuff in there that needs it as I can because it's no extra working. So it's really cool. I mean, I love looking at that thing during the day and at night. And then seeing this like little dinosaur that gets bigger and bigger. He's in his growth phase now. He's like as big as my ferrets now. But I mean, if it turns out that he's a boy, I don't know what sex he is. I'll have to wear it maybe until he gets bigger or look at him. But if it turns out to be a male, I think they can get up to 5 feet long. And I don't know, so part of me is like, oh, that'd be cool if he gets up to like the biggest tegu ever. Because, and I let him eat as much as he wants. But he regulates his own eating too. Like he's totally in his own little symbiosis. And I think he lives a great habitat in there. And I don't do any work. It's like so easy to take care of tegu, but I think even like in the 5-foot tegu would be big enough. I mean, that my would still work. It wouldn't be too big for my fireplace because he could bask, kind of curl up and bask. His basking pad is like 2 feet by 2 feet. It's like this big. But if he wants to run around, you know, and get exercise, I have a ramp for him to get escape. So I can teach him how to escape and run around. In fact, I might do that. I would lock up the ferrets first, but I would do that actually right now because I can work in the couch right next to his the fireplace. I can look over and see him. I can actually see him, and so I can just work and look over, you know. And if he walks out, because I saw him looking on the ramp, looking up once. So if he comes out, then it's like, okay, well that was your decision to come out, and I can kind of like look at him and I don't know. And then at that point, I could like chase him around and let him run, you know, run, chase him around, and I'd have to make sure that he couldn't fit under him. His body isn't too small enough to fit under the refrigerator. I'll have to look at that first because I was thinking about waiting until he's bigger, but I don't think my ferrets can. I don't think it can. But yeah, and then I can just chase him around, you know, and then I could pick him up. Because I picked him up like a couple weeks ago, put my hand around. I just saw a moth flying around. So yeah, and that'd be fun because then he'd get in the habit of doing that. And I'm thinking maybe one day I could train the tegu and the ferrets to kind of hang out together, you know? Because you see videos with ferrets hanging out with cats and with tegus hanging out with cats. So maybe ferrets and tegus can hang out with each other. I don't know. Maybe the ferret is big enough and the tegu is like not used enough to eating things that the tegu won't try to eat the ferret, you know, and the ferret won't like attack the tegu. So anyway, I'd be more worried about the ferret than the tegu because I saw a video where a tegu was defending itself against like a German shepherd, you know, like charging after it and stuff. So a wild one. So anyways, that's enough talking. But I didn't do a video for like 2 days. So yeah, I'm gonna get going on it. I watched the entire Scientology, Leah Remini Scientology show, and I was watching all the videos from this other guy, ex-Scientologist. I'm watching all the ex-Scientologist videos. I listened to Book of the Law by Aleister Crowley yesterday because they were talking about that's the beginnings of Scientology, but it didn't make any sense to me. I want to do Blavatsky because that's another one. But and then this guy, what's his name? Dazed but Not Confused. Watching, hearing all those videos, talking about the mind control. Like I'm starting to take it seriously, figure out how they did it. So then I got the book, but I didn't finish it. About the beginnings of MK Ultra, and then there was even this guy who Dazed but Not Confused was talking about, H.D. Tudor, who was a diagnosed narcissistic psychopath, and he does all the videos talking about how their mind works. I was watching that, and but I was also listening to Plato. Aristotle's Athenian Constitution book, because I'm working on the computer again, and I'm trying to get in the habit of listening to that, and so it's interesting, but if I'm really high, I don't know. Lately, I'm just more in the mood to listen to people talking, and so I'm on the news, because a lot of interesting stuff is going on with the news. Hopefully, Putin's going to get dethroned pretty soon, and then they're going to throw Trump in jail. So it's like Putin and Trump are going down at the same time. So that's cool. Anyways, that's enough talking. Hopefully, I can finish Italy today. Which means Rome. Europe. And then get started with Americas, and tomorrow I'll be like, oh, I'm doing pretty good in Americas now. So I ate a pizza last night, and it was like one of those cheap $4 pieces at the supermarket, and they have that sausage, like rotten sausage and bacon and whatever, and the two kinds of meat. And I got up today feeling kind of sick, and with a sick stomach, I need to start eating, living off of my vegetables more. I have this big bag of vegetables that I haven't been eating into, so. And maybe not so many energy drinks. I had one yesterday. Anyway, my mom, I went over and rode bikes with my mom right before I did this video. It was cool, and she made me a big, healthy salad. So that was nice. She makes good, healthy food. So anyways, that's enough talking. Talk to you tomorrow.